What's going on, Vapor fans? So, on PVA, what is happening? Today, we're going to be doing a huge update of what's going on, okay? So, this is going to be in the vlog. It's not really in my nature to put stuff on the vlog. I will also put this on the Indiegogo, etc., right? So, everybody is up to date on what is going on. See, the thing is that, like, everything is coming together. A lot of stuff for me is coming together, okay? Stuff that I've been working on, other projects, different things and whatnot. And it's time to fill you guys in on what is going on, okay? So happy days are coming to us. First and foremost, right, we're going to talk about a few things with the shop before we get into the PVA 40 device, but we will get there, okay? Regarding the shop, things with the Rebuilders toolkits and the mech bundles and stuff like that, where am I going with the Pegasus store, okay? I realized at the end of the day, even though, you know, I've sold my share of, like, you know, atomizers and mods and things like that, it's not really what I want to do for you guys, you know what I mean? Because if you really want this stuff, just get them on eBay, get them wherever, you know, get them dirt cheap, get them like from Angel 6 or whatever. Don't even bother with these prices, okay? What I really want to provide as a service for everybody is the tools, okay? Tools are very important. Everybody needs the tools. Everybody needs safe tools. Everybody needs, you know, very sharp flush cutters, you know, omni testers, ceramic tweezers. Ceramic tweezers, by the time you guys get the PVA 40 device, that ceramic tweezers are going to be your best friend, and I will show you why really soon, okay? As far as, right, the toolkits and the beginner's bundle and stuff like that, completely sold out. I warned you guys that they were going to go out very quickly. I can't get the cases for these things anymore, so it is what it is, okay? As far as the meters, that thing, I ordered like 200 pieces. They're freaking gone. So a lot of things, all I have left is basically the flush cutters and the tweezers, okay? I got like just a few pieces more, and then, you know, that's going to be done. Right, so that's that with this, okay? Let's move on to the PVA 40 device, which is what everybody wants to know. What's up? What's going on with it? Okay, so happy days are here. Finally going to reveal to you guys, right, what a lot of people didn't know about Evolve, all right? Like I said before, Evolve's wait time is 8 weeks, okay? And I finally got it. It's in my hands. Here, finally, look at all these freaking chips stacked together, all right? So, it's finally here. So, what's going on? Originally, when we first started the project of this thing, right, people were like, oh, it's going to take all the way until April, blah, blah, blah. By then, the DNA 50 is going to be out, so, blah, blah, blah. You know, all these kinds of strange speculations and stuff like that. And I'm really glad for all of you guys out there who stuck in there with me and understood exactly what is happening. This is a project that's being built from scratch. So, from the time of, you know, we're collecting the money, because at that time when we were collecting the money, if we didn't make if we didn't make the goal, this project wasn't even going to begin. So at that time, we were starting from complete zero, okay? So although the Iogo thing is not going to happen, right, I'm going to get into the Iogo explanation in a little bit, okay? Let's finish this one first. So as far as this thing goes, right, this is what's really putting us behind schedule. Okay, because I had to have collected the money first in order to go ahead and purchase the chips. So all the chips are here right now, right? And there's actually more than this. There's 2 big bricks of this stuff, okay? And that is exactly the amount for everybody who jumped in on the deal, all right? So as far as this thing goes, there's that 8-week wait period, and then we finally got it now. So I was hoping, because when I spoke to the folks at Evolve or whatever, they're like, yeah, maybe we could get it done faster. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But guaranteed 8 weeks, no more than that. And then by the time I spoke to them at week 6, they told me that, like, we're going to need the full 8 weeks, Peg. It's you know, everything is hot and fresh out the oven. So everything here is version 4 of the DNA 40 device, okay? I got some extra good news on this, okay? What do I have in my hand over here? Okay, this is a DNA 40 that I built myself. Okay, for all of you guys, remember when we first initially started this project and I said, hey, let's build a DNA? Some folks had an impression that, like, hey, Peg, I thought we were going to build a DNA together, not make you know what I mean, like produce a DNA device together. And then it was initially just like, you know, a concept, and then it kind of just went in that direction. So because I had a couple of chips, because I have a can mod, I stripped it down, switched it over to a Veritube low profile 510 connection that is spring loaded. Shout out to Perry from Veritube, because he hooked me up with a bunch of these things, and I will show you how to do this stuff. So big bonus for all of you guys who were originally like, Peg, I thought we were going to build something together. I will be releasing a video of how to build one of these SOBs. I will go all the way from the beginning, unlike any other tutorial, right? Where I will show you exactly which website to go to place your orders for the cheapest damn parts, and then put one together and what it's going to go through. So it's going to be a real treat for everybody to watch, because it's going to do two things, right? It's going to either, number one, motivate you guys to maybe build like a little DNA 40 device, you know, as a backup device on the side or something like that, or you get to see the step-by-step process of why you don't even want to bother doing one of these yourself, okay? Because a lot of people say, why don't you just build one? Why don't you just build one? Well, it's not hard to build one, but it's a big pain to build one. Okay, it's not hard, it's a pain. You got to spend the whole day, and then you have to buy a lot of different parts and tools and stuff, and then wait for them all to get here to build one. Okay, so should you decide to become a modder or whatever, without like factory support from China or a large factory, I really don't see people making too much money, you know, building their own mods, you know, because the time that it takes to do this and whatever, again, you know, anybody can do it. Most likely you just don't want to do it. You know what I mean? Okay. So as far as like, you know, the, let me see. What else did I want to get into, right? Building this stuff is something that I'm going to put on camera to show all of you guys how to do it. It's another thing. Okay, there's been a lot of talk, a lot of smack talk about nickel wire and what's going on with the nickel wire or whatever, all right? One of the videos, somebody pointed out to me, I'm not going to name any names, you know who you are, all right? And I'm going to choose to keep it anonymous. I'm going to choose not to crush you where you stand for telling people nonsense, okay? But you know who you are. All right, so he said, okay, a limo tank, because of how the bottom base is removable, so there's way too much stainless like going on, right? So when you build like a nickel coil or whatever, it's not going to pick up on it. That is the biggest load of, that is the first thing that I did. After I slapped this thing together, look at the shelf. I basically have everything. So I put it together, a limo. I even intentionally went with a difficult gauge. I went with a 28 gauge. There's 14 wraps on this thing, and it's clocking in at 0.22 ohms, and it's reading it just fine. Let me show you. I have mine set to 500 degrees. So bam. Okay. Limo, no problem. Okay, what else do I want to report about the DNA 40 chip? Okay, it's not what a lot of people think. It is not what a lot of people think. You really have to be like, you know what I mean, like an idiot stabbing at the DNA 40 to break this chip. This chip is a super sturdy chip. I did a piss poor job soldering it together, taking it apart, blah, 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 whatever, and just totally butchering the chip, right? And it works immaculately. So I don't know what people are talking about. It's like, you have to be terrible. You just have to be terrible, okay? Yeah, so you know, I went online and saw a couple of, like, you know, tacking tips and stuff like that. Basically, you know, you cut up your wire so that, like, it fits nicely, and then you pre-tin the wire with your solder, and then you just tack them on, you know? So the second time around when I did it, much smoother, much easier, whatever. But still, you know, I really, I did kind of a butcher job to this thing, and it still works fine. So I'm really happy to report that. Because what does this mean? It means, right, that you have to be like Like, you know, like, kill yourself, you know what I mean? Like, you have to be awful, like, just awful, like, just, you know, to ruin one of these chips. These chips are super sturdy. They're really easy to tack on. They're really easy to solder and to work with or whatever. So, I predict very, very good things to come, all right? So, regarding this PVA 40, we are no longer ahead of schedule, but we're still on schedule, all right? So what I had to report before with the Iogo incident and stuff like that, it just means that, like, we're not ahead of schedule. That's all it is. It's a slight bump in the road. I wasn't able to surprise everybody with the early release, but that doesn't mean that we're not on time. So a lot of people will be like, ha, I knew it. Like you don't know anything, okay? The fight's not over. I'm not even behind schedule, to be honest, okay? I promised an April release. Definitely everybody's going to be getting theirs in mid-April, April 10th, April 15th, something like that. Definitely, okay? If not earlier, if I could do it. I can't release who's going to be doing the production. Not now, okay? Once everybody gets it, it's immaculate, everybody's happy, whatever, I will tell you what's up and what happened, all right? The best part about it is that the factory that I'm working with also happens to have a silicone machine. So all of you out there who said, Peg, can we make silicone bumpers? Can we make silicone bumpers? Yes, absolutely, we will make silicone bumpers, and we will make them dirt cheap. I promise you, I will make them dirt cheap, okay? I won't release a whole bunch of stupid colors or whatever, but, you know, we're releasing a gunmetal gray, so I'll just make you guys a gray bumper. You know what I mean? Kind of like clearish smoke, kind of gray bumper that, like, you know what I mean? It doesn't kill the way it looks, and then that's that. Okay. Let's see. Moving on with the Iogo story. Okay, so this is hysterical. Okay, let me pull something up for you guys real quick, and the thing is that how many of you folks out there know exactly what the Dimitri box mod is? Okay, it is this thing. It is this little guy. Okay, and Iogo did the right thing. They did the right thing. Okay, although me and Iogo have kicked each other to the curb and we are no longer going to be doing business anymore. Okay, but here's where it happened and how it started. I'll tell you guys the story right now. Okay, initially, Iogo still makes a bomb-ass atomizer when it comes to the K-Fun. Okay, so their ability is there when they want to do the QC, when they're very careful, when you have, you know what I mean, somebody like me to go back and forth with them or whatever, then it's going to come out right. It's not going to be a problem. There's nothing wrong with Iogo on that one, okay? But the issue is this, right? At the time, you know, everybody was coming up, right? It wasn't just the fact that H-Cigar and EH Pro and Infinity were ahead in the clone market. There was also a lot of other stuff coming out, like, you know, Sigreen and Ice Smoke and blah, 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 whatever, that were also being cloners. So the cloner market was getting more and more congested, and Iogo needed an out. And I felt as if, like, when we do something like this, right, when you're going to do a project like this, you absolutely need factory support. Don't get screwed by the factory, which is exactly what happened to us. We're kind of got screwed by the factory. But they're still honorable. They're still going to be returning the deposit, et cetera, and things like that. So, you know, we're going to be square with Iogo, okay? But what happened is this. So they wanted an out to get out of the clone thing, right? And then this is, you know, one step towards that. So they were willing to, you know, work with us and as far as doing the PVA 40 project. So but what happened? What changed in the middle of it? It's this goddamn Dimitri style mechanical box mod by Iogo for $35.95. All right, $35.93. Excuse me. So what happened is that during the time they cloned this thing, no other company cloned this thing. They were the first to do it. They sold a ton of them to South America. Okay, and when I talk about a ton of them, you'd be shocked at what I mean by a ton. They sold 100,000 pieces. Okay, so initially, the guy was going to give up on the whole cloning thing or whatever, but now he did this, and now he's just like, hey, not bad. You know, it's all about selecting the right item. So he did this, and now he sold 100,000 pieces, and he's too busy, you know, doing this stuff to really pay more attention. I'll be honest with you, it's a really dishonorable thing. But then again, I mean, what are you going to do? Money talks, right? How many of us backed the project to do the PV40 versus selling 100,000 pieces of this? So what are you going to do, right? But at least, he's giving us the money back, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so we have nothing to worry about regarding that. So some of you folks have said to me, like Peg, why didn't you have like more fail safes in place? Look, I do have more fail safes in place, meaning like I have relationships with all sorts of factories and stuff, so I could get it done with all sorts of other companies, right? But the issue is that like you can't start the project all at the same time because everybody needs a deposit. We don't have the money to put a deposit here, 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 and here. And then what happens to the deposit money when you don't go through with whatever? You cannot get the deposit money back unless they back out. And considering they're not bullies, you know what I mean, that aren't just going to take your money and run. Okay, so that's why you cannot have all those fail safes in place and stuff unless you're willing to just throw that money away. Okay, and each deposit is a couple. It's big, okay? It's not a few dollars. All right, so that is the story with Iogo. They sold the Dimitri mod. They're getting fat on that thing, and they could care less about what's going on with the PV40. So, it is what it is. At the end of the day, to be honest, do I even recommend that people still buy a Dimitri mod, even though me and Iogo will not have any ties anymore because of this situation? Yes, absolutely, yes. I have a Dimitri mod, not here, somewhere, but it works very well. They slap 2 batteries in there. The current spreads between the 2 batteries, and it really pushes. It really pushes. So if you are worried about like you don't know where to stand as far as like all those dual parallel box mods out there with like MOSFET, no MOSFET, or whatever. Spend $35, get yourself a Dimitri mod. You know what I mean? You don't have to worry about anything. You screw in your batteries, put on your atomizer, and then hit it. The only thing that's not so great about this one is that like the 510 is not adjustable. Okay, so could you modify it into like a more adjustable spring load 510? I don't know. I'm not going to attempt to try, but like it is what it is. It's still a decent box mod. I've only had like 1 or 2 out of my 70 atomizers that like didn't make very decent connection on it. But aside from that, any one of your drippers to your tank systems and stuff like that, they work fine on this thing. Okay, so again, not to promote Iogo, but I'm not gonna down talk something and say it's crap because I don't like them. No, it's actually a good device. Okay. All right. So enough with that and enough with this. So something else that we want to put out there. Oh, real quick, guys, I will be at VAP Fest. Okay. So VAP Fest March 6th through 7th. Countdown is over here, right? So go to vapefest.com. I will be at booth 34. I'll be working there. And basically, I'm going to be going on tour to like a lot of places, like maybe Texas, maybe Florida, and stuff like that. But I will be on tour to like all sorts of vape festivals and things like that. So if you want to come out and say hi or what's up, shake hands, take a photo, whatever, I will be there, helping some booths and promoting some stuff. Okay, let me see what else that we want to talk about real quick regarding this stuff. Okay, Evolve. This is going to be fun. This is going to be real fun. How many of you guys keep in constant, of what's going on with the Evolve, right? So a lot of people who are like, wah, saying that like, I have to do DNA 40. What happens if the DNA 50 comes out? What happens if the DNA 60 comes out? Look what's coming out, the DNA 25. It actually went backwards. It didn't go forwards. All right, so let's pull up the data sheets over here real quick to compare of exactly what is going on, right? So this thing is going to be 1 watt to 25 watts max, while the DNA 40 that we are working with is 1 watt to 40 watts. So what happens here? What is the difference? What is the real difference of what is going on, right? Because at the end of the day, the temperature limit of this thing is just going to be 200 Fahrenheit all the way to 600 Fahrenheit, while this one is also 200 Fahrenheit to 600 Fahrenheit. So what is the difference between 25 watts and the 40 watts? It's all about getting there sooner, because you leave 25 watts running, it will eventually hit 600 freaking degrees. Okay, you leave 40 watts running, it's going to do it. They're all going to do it. Okay, actually, you really only need about like 15, 16 watts in order to get around like the 500, 600 Fahrenheit area. It's just all about getting there sooner. So this thing is already performing very quickly. So this thing is at cold right now. So when I fire it for you guys, to go from like 100 to 500 is really not that long, So had they come out with a DNA 60, DNA 80, right? They would be nanoseconds apart. There would be nanoseconds, right? Because we bought these things for its temperature protection, and we're going to be vaping on nickel wire, so that like we're vaping in temperature controlled temperature mode. So what if it was like an 80, 60, make it 100, make it 200 watts? Like it doesn't make a difference. You know what I mean? If you are really looking for like 100, 120 watts, 150 watts, then by all means, you should just go ahead and buy that device. So really need to make that clear, right? So what is the biggest difference between the DNA 25 and the 40 other than what I just said before with the 25 watts and the 40 watts, right? Well, the input voltage and the input current over here, right? So it's one battery and it maxes out at 10 amps over here, right? So what does that say? It says very good things. It says that you could use like a Panasonic BD battery, right? Because a BD battery is at 10 amps and you could run this little sucker at 3,200 milliamp hours, right? Of course, the PVA 40 doesn't have that big of an issue either because we run parallel on that. So we're going to, way more mAh, right? While your average, DNA 25 device most likely will be in different. I'm thinking most likely people are going to be putting the 25 into small form factor mods and stuff like that. So it could take that one battery, put it a BD 3,200 mAh, 10 amps. You're good to go. While over here, right? Because it could ramp up all the way. It could use up to 40 watts to get you from that hot to cold. Cold to hot right away, right? So if you look at the input current over here, it's going to require up to 16 amps had you used a single battery, okay? But we're going to be, again, we're using parallel batteries, so all we really need is two batteries that can handle 8 amps each. And then it's going to double the mAh, and it's going to be crazy, Right, so hope that has gotten you guys up to speed. All right, so here I'm going to show you guys a work in progress. All right, so this is the 18650 lithium battery guide, okay, that we were talking about as far as the type A, B, and C, and D batteries. Now, don't read too much into this mumbo jumbo, okay, because it's still a work in progress. Not all the numbers are there. Most of it is just filler text, but it needs tweaking. All right, so I'm just going to leave that on the screen for the hell of it. What's happening here is that this is the categories that we've figured out for everyone, and then what happened to be initiating a pop quiz for everyone to take. Okay, so it's going to have interesting questions in it, right? Like for instance, what we have over here with the DNA board, right? So input current over here, 10 amps, 4.3, blah, blah, whatever. So what kind of battery should you use? Most likely a type A battery. So this is going to, with the guide as the key, and then doing a pop quiz or whatever, it's going to help everybody be able to appraise batteries for themselves so that people will be making smarter and smarter selections and stuff like that, okay? So what Matt and I recommend, okay, as the #1 battery for type A, for type B, type C, type D, that is going to be, we're going to reveal that another time, okay? But when we do, know that the batteries that we choose, no rewrapping, okay? It's going to be the actual battery as it is from one of the big companies, so it's got to be, Samsung, LG, Panasonic, something like that. Okay, it's got to be one of the big companies. No disrespect to AW Andrew Wan or Orbtronics or whatever, because those guys are respectable, legitimate rewrapping companies, right? Key Power as well, because they don't embellish on the numbers. You know, it's 16. It's a 1600 mAh, 24 amp battery. It is what it is. They're not going to say, oh, it's 2000 at 20 amps, or, you know, twist it around, just be like, it's 1500 mAh, but it's 30 amps. What truly, you know what I mean? It's 24 amps, 1600 mAh, red AW battery. It is what it is. They don't screw around. And I feel as if, like, you know, it's really those good companies like AW and Orbtronic, is because they've been around selling batteries before the whole vape craze. You know what I mean? Before people were looking for 18650 batteries for vaping and stuff like that. They've been selling batteries for like flashlights and all sorts of other applications for a very, very long time. It's all these new, you know, companies who are rewrapping stuff geared towards vaping and whatnot, and saying, you know, 40 amps, 38 amps, 42 amps, and just going crazy and destroying the market. Okay, so that's what we do here on this show. You know, we try to introduce a solution to stuff. We don't leave people in the dark. Okay, it's one thing to point out, look, there's the problem, right? But we want to go the extra mile and not only point out what the problem is, what the source of the problem, why it happened, and at the same time offer a solution. And this whole chart or whatever is the work in progress, and we will get to that very soon. So next episode of the Straight Vault and next episodes of the Amp Hour and stuff like that, I believe Matt's going to be releasing 2 episodes of the Amp Hour back to back, episode 3 and episode 4. Episode 3 will talk more about internal resistance. Episode 4 will also double up on the whole A, B, C, and D thing. This is something that we've, you know, you came up together and worked on it, like, together back and forth with, like, you know, text and idea and the concept. It's going to be a whole battery revolution. We're going to change the way everybody looks at batteries, okay? Because back in the days, all you ever did was, this is 30 amps, you better buy this one, and then that's it. Well, you know what, guys? At the end of the day, that's stupid. That's a stupid way to buy batteries. You know what? Because at the end of the day, how should you really be buying batteries? You should be looking at the input current of the device, you should be looking at the input current of the device that you are working with, and sacrificing as little milliamp hours as possible. You know what I mean? Because had you just like go with like a 30 amp battery, you are sacrificing a lot of mAh for no reason. You know, when really, if you have a device where like it only requires 25 amps or something like that, it only requires 15 amps or something like that, then, you know, you could still enjoy a lot of milliamp hours on top of that and not have to give up as much. It's all about that, finding that balance so that we could teach people how to appraise things properly. Okay, so that's all for this time on the vlog. Hope you guys have enjoyed that. As always, guys, on PVA, question everything, do your homework, and vape clever, guys. Take care. PVA 40 stuff is going to be well on the way. You guys relax. Everybody's going to get an immaculate item at the end of the day, right? Take care, y'all. Love you guys.